Now let's take a look at Maryland, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland, where temperatures they're in the 70s. West Virginia temperatures are also in the 70s, but to low 80s. Then we go down south, where you're seeing a clockwise flow of winds throughout the south, throughout the lower Mississippi Valley, where winds are coming from the Gulf, blowing towards Texas and Oklahoma, just moving up to 30 miles an hour in some places. On the eastern side of both states, somewhat light and variable winds. Arkansas and Louisiana, somewhat light and variable, but in southern Louisiana, winds are blowing to the west at up to 20 miles an hour at the most. Go to the Carolinas, where wind in Tennessee, winds are blowing to the southwest at up to 20 miles an hour. Florida, when you start off just on the northern half of Florida, they're blowing to the southwest at up to 20 miles an hour. In the southern half, winds are shifting from the northeast to the east at up to 20 miles an hour. And that includes the Florida Keys. Then we go to Alabama, Mississippi, where winds are blowing up to 15 to 20 miles an hour to the south. And let's take a look at the temperatures. Start off in the Carolinas, in Georgia, temperatures they're in the mid-70s to the mid-80s. Tennessee, temperatures are in the low 80s to mid-90s. Alabama, Mississippi, temperatures are in the mid-80s to low 90s. Then we go to Arkansas and Louisiana, where temperatures they're in the 90s, going down to Florida, where temperatures they range from 77 in Palm Bay to 91 in Tallahassee. Then we go to Oklahoma. You got temperatures they're in the mid-80s to mid-90s. Going to Texas, temperatures aren't well too extreme, unlike during the summer months in Texas, like I've been covering throughout the summer months so far. Let's start off, basically you have temperatures all across the Lone Star State. They range from the mid-80s to mid-90s all across the Lone Star State. Then we go to the to the Midwest. Let's take a look. Winds are somewhat light and variable throughout much of the Ohio Valley, but winds are moving to the southwest up to 15 miles an hour. Throughout the Great Plains, winds blowing up to 30 miles an hour in Kansas, the south and eastern parts of Nebraska, western Missouri, Iowa, southern Minnesota, And yet, in the Dakotas, they're becoming a little variable. They have lighter winds there, but still, winds there, they range from being variable in some parts of the Dakotas to the center part of the Dakotas, with winds moving from the east to the southwest at up to 25 miles an hour. In the Great Lakes region, you have Wisconsin, winds moving to the north at up to 20 to 25 miles an hour. In Michigan, I should say, you have in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, winds are moving to the north at up to 20 miles an hour. In the Lower Peninsula, winds are ranging from light and variable to moving to, it's somewhat a little bit variable, but winds at max are at 20 miles an hour. Unless if it's on the immediate coastal part, like parts of Lake Huron, you have winds are blowing up to 25 miles an hour. Let's take a look at temperatures throughout the Ohio Valley. So what do we have throughout the Ohio Valley, consisting of 4 states of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Kentucky? Temperatures they range from 71 in Cleveland, Ohio, to 89 in Springfield, Illinois. Why do I keep saying Missouri? Yeah, it's been an exhausting day, folks. I don't want that to get in the way of the stream. I'm just tired. And I've been talking a lot. Great Lakes, like Wisconsin and Michigan, you get temperatures in both peninsulas of Michigan. They range from the mid-60s to low 80s. Wisconsin, temperatures they're mostly in the 70s. Then we go to the Minnesota and the Dakotas. Minnesota, temperatures range from 62 in Duluth to 82 in Rochester. In North Dakota, temperatures there and South Dakota, they range from the mid 70s to upper 80s. Going down along the Missouri River in 4 states like Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri. Iowa temperatures are in the 80s. Kansas and Nebraska temperatures there, they range from the mid 80s to the mid 90s. In Missouri, temperatures there, they range from the upper 80s to mid 90s. Throughout the northern Rockies, you have much of Montana. They have light and variable winds, and as well as northern Idaho and some parts of Wyoming. In the southern part of Idaho, you have winds are blowing to the east-northeast at up to 20 miles an hour. In the central and southern parts of Wyoming, wait, what am I talking about? Winds. I'm talking about temperatures here. Temperatures throughout Montana, they range from 66 in Helena to 82 in Glasgow and Billings. In northern Idaho, temperatures are in the 60s. Southern Idaho, 70s. Wyoming, temperatures all across the state, they are in the 70s to low 80s. Now we go down to the Rockies and the Great Basin, like Colorado, Utah, Nevada, where you have temperatures there. They range from 68 in Alamosa to 86 in Denver. Utah, temperatures range from 71 in Richfield, Logan, and Vernal to 88 in St. George. Nevada, temperatures throughout the northern half of the state, they range from the mid 60s to low 70s. In the southern half of the state, temperatures are into the 70s, 80s, and into the low 90s, like 91 in Vegas. Then we go down to Arizona, New Mexico, which is the desert southwest, where in New Mexico you have temperatures that range from 71 and 62 in Farmington to 93 in Carlsbad. In Arizona, in the northern half of the state, temperatures they range from 64 in Alpine to 84 in Kingman. In the southern half of the state, they're in the 90s. Now, wait a minute. I failed to mention that. Okay, I'm a little mixed up, folks. Light and variable winds throughout much of the northern Rockies and much of the Pacific Northwest. But coastal parts of the Pacific Northwest, winds are blowing up to 25 to 30 miles per hour in the immediate coastal parts. Southern Wyoming and central Wyoming, winds are blowing to the north at up to 30 miles an hour. Plus parts of Utah and Colorado, particularly on the far western part of the state and the eastern third of the state. And Arizona and New Mexico, winds blowing to the north-northeast at up to 30 miles an hour. In some places throughout both states. California, you have offshore winds blowing parallel down south along the coast, but some places where they do have winds blowing onshore. Places just located right around Santa Maria, just blowing around 30 miles an hour over there. Then you have elsewhere throughout the state, winds throughout the Central Valley of California. They're pushing into the Sierra Nevadas and the southern part of California. Winds blowing into the desert to the east at up to 20 miles an hour. But elsewhere, it's becoming light and variable, especially up in the mountains. All right. Now that I'm done with temperatures in the mountainous parts of the state, now we move on to the coast. 62 in Eureka. Temperatures are in the 70s to low 80s, mid 80s in the San Francisco Bay Area. 84 in LA, 73 in San Diego, 95 in Indio. Temperatures all across the Central Valley of California, they're in the 80s. And we go up the coast towards the Pacific Northwest. All right, then Oregon, you have temperatures that range from the upper 60s to mid 70s. Washington State, temperatures range from 66 in Seattle to 82 in Yakima. Now we move on to talk about gusts. Hold on a minute, folks. All right, I'm back. So, what do we got for gusts? Well, for gusts, I can say, folks, is that there are plenty of gusts blowing around 30 to 40, maybe close to 50 miles an hour, stretching from the Outer Banks of North Carolina, but becoming less severe down along the coast towards Daytona Beach in Florida and the Big Bend area. Then we have 30 to 40 mile per hour winds throughout much of the Great Plains, all the way to Minnesota. Just a little higher, though, just located in Brainerd, Minnesota. It's close to up to 50 miles an hour there. In parts of the desert southwest and Great Basin, you have gusty winds blowing up to 50 miles an hour in some places, maybe a little higher, though. And a few parts in California blowing around 40 miles an hour. Now let's talk about humidity. Well, there's plenty of humidity to go around throughout much of Florida. Then we go to Minnesota. Plenty of humidity there. Some parts of the southern Rockies, few parts in the desert southwest, some humidities there, and parts of the Pacific Northwest on the coastal side. Somewhat humid, but not too much compared to Florida and Minnesota. That's as of today. Friday, September 12th, 2025. Rainfall accumulation. Now, where's the worst of the rain? Well, let's start off in the southeast, where Florida, they're getting about up to half an inch, close to an inch of rain on the coastal parts, plus Lake Okeechobee. Then we have about considerable amounts of estimated to be about 2 to 4 inches in some places. In Wisconsin, eastern parts of Minnesota, western Dakotas, in parts of the desert southwest, all the way up the Rocky Mountains. A few places getting up to an inch or two of rain, some places. But just so you know, folks, those are estimates. That includes the gusts. Just make sure that you consult with your local National Weather Service office or your local officials just to get the exact amount, because this is all subject to change. These are just estimates. Okay, I need a quick sip, folks. Hold on a minute. Whew. Damn. All right, so now, without further ado, let's talk about upper level winds. So what do we got? Let's start off here and pretend that this is right now. So we do have a ridge that's located over the Great Plains, trough located over the, hold on a minute, over the Great Basin, and a narrow trough located over the Mid-Atlantic. I mean, this could signify that there could be an omega block that's in position, folks. But it's kind of lopsided looking type of omega block. It's not a Rex block, just so you know, folks. I mean, because, you know, something like an omega block can lead to a Rex block. That's sometimes the case. Other times, well, it goes bye-bye. So, translation, what does this mean? Well, translation, it means there's plenty of wet weather throughout the Rockies and parts of the West, and some wet weather is still occurring throughout parts of the South, but plenty of dry weather to go around throughout much of the Northeast, which does explain that there's plenty of dry air to go around, but all the wet weather that's outside of our area. So, auf Wiedersehen, that's how we say it as Bayern Munich fans. If you guys are not Bayern Munich fans, well, it's okay. It's okay, but I'd encourage you guys to do so. But I'm not forcing you guys to, nor trying to peer pressure you or anything. Alright, now let's move on to 24 hours. Well, it looks like the Omega block is getting